Alright, so this movie is about how I did my timing belt in my 1990 Nissan Pathfinder SE for the first time. Let's see what we got to work with here. First off, I have all my new parts. A water pump, thermostat, 6 plugs that I gapped myself last night. The timing belt in that black box there, along with 2 cam seals if we need them. A new tensioner. I think that's about it. It's got my bucket, torque wrench, my air compressor Junior by Fisher Price, some little odds and ends down there, W40, 2 socket sets, all my tools, my Haynes manual and some notes that I got online. I got the computer set up inside in case I need it, and I think I'm about ready to get started. Now this is what I've done so far to the truck. I put an aftermarket automatic transmission fluid cooler in there from a Ford Explorer. I did the transmission flush, new filter and everything, new fluids all the way around. I installed this silly little thing, which just folds right down into there, so that's kind of cool. But for the most part, that's basically it. And this is going to be not only the most complicated thing I've ever done to this truck, but the most complicated thing I've done to any truck. So it's going to be a new adventure for me. Alright, first off, I'm going to remove this silly little thing via these screws here. There we go. Screws go back where they came from. And the part is placed chronologically right here. Now I'm going to remove the negative battery terminal just because the book said so. Bing! Now after spilling half of it on my arm, I managed to drain the radiator into that bucket. I think. After spilling half of it onto my arm, I managed to drain the radiator. Now we're going to remove this bad boy. Now that fan shroud was a bitch, but I believe that it met its match. Yeah. So this is the way that this works, right? It's in 2 pieces and it comes off. Try not to bugger up your clip like I did mine. Out came the rat easily enough. And there's the great green sea. I hope Al Gore doesn't see my video. Mr. Fan comes off easy enough. These guys in here were a little bit hesitant, but if you just tap the wrench with the hammer, bing, 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 they come right off. Now we're going after the power steering pump. That's how I got that nut off. Now from there I just sort of wiggled this pulley off. But I know that when I reinstall it, I'm going to need to access the tensioner, which is right there, I think. Anyway, it's accessed from below. Next, I'm going to loosen this bugger and unscrew the tensioner, which is here. That was easy enough. A little bit more. There we go. And this last one just sort of comes off on its own. Taking this bracket off here, I had to make my own itty-bitty little breaker bar. That there is a socket. Kids, don't try this at home. You'll ruin your tools. With the bracket off, I noticed that the bolts are all different lengths. So I'm going to keep them inside the bracket here to keep them organized. And then this coolant tube comes off easily enough. This came off with these 6 nuts here. Simple enough. And to take this nut off, we need some power. Whoops, I forgot to set it to top dead center, so now I gotta go back and do that. Okay, top dead center. Yep, top dead center. Surprise, surprise, Fisher-Price didn't make a strong enough compressor to take that off, so I'm going to have to remove the starter and block the flywheel and do it by hand. This is how I ended up loosening this mo-fucker. Oh yeah. Now using my harmonic balancer puller, I can pull this thing off. I was able to use the bolts from the fan, which were just long enough. Now starts the process of removing all of these bolts around the timing belt covers. Yes. And that is how you go about getting one of these bolts out of your engine when you throw it down your spark plug hole. Priceless tool. I'd like to give a shout out to the motorcycle for taking me to the auto parts store to buy that tiny little magnet. Thanks, motorcycle, you're super reliable. This is how I'm keeping track of my bolts as I take them out of the timing belt cover. See, I got a bottom and a top that I made from an old pizza box. And the cover just comes right off. Looks pretty clean. And in there too, I guess I won't be replacing my cam seals. Not that I really wanted to. However, check this out. I'll try and get some focus for you. Come on, focus. Well, anyway, that's my belt. That looks kind of loose. The bottom comes off pretty easy. Look at that. Yeah, a little bit of grime right there. Not too bad though. Now I'm removing the thermostat housing, noting which end is up on the thermostat. I'm going to clean away all this old gasket material, replace the thermostat, put on some new gasket material, and put it all back together. There was a bunch of coolant behind that. Surprise, surprise. New sealant. Now that's all squared away and looking pretty good. Now, in preparation to take the belt off, I'm going to take out all the spark plugs. But first, I'm going to number the spark plug lines. 1, 3, 5, da-da-da, so that they don't get confused. And I'm going to use my worthless compressor to blow out any dust or particulate matter that's around the spark plug so it doesn't fall into the cylinders. Woo! Look at this tool I had to invent in order to get number 6 out. What a pain in the ass. I think I'm going to patent this. Look at that. Spark plug, elbow, reducer, extension, elbow, expander, extension, ratchet. Now, try as I might, I just can't get the marks on the old belt to match up with the marks on the pulley here. I'm starting to think that the person who installed the old belt didn't install it according to the marks. However, armed with the information that these two marks are 41 teeth apart, these two marks are 41 teeth apart, I think that I will be able to do this. The belt just comes right off. While I'm in here, I'll be replacing the water pump, so I'm going to get started on removing that. So yeah, it's full of coolant, by the way. Yeah, full of antifreeze. Now I scrape off all the old gasket and rub on it with an old rag. Dry it off. Now the new gasket is applied thusly. Now we're going to try and put it on the truck.